Are you able to hear me now? We should have me on live. So just to do just to introduce myself again. Let's just get this back. For those of you who are wondering who I am, I'm Brian Career Advice UK. I live stream now every day. Good. I do try to live stream every day 4 a.m. For you music addict, let me just be a little bit brutal with you about TikTok. And let me just kind of get myself a little bit adjusted here. TikTok is one of these things. If you are going to do it, you need to be on a lot. It is like a full-time job. If you are going to go live and you want to make any money off of it, you have to be on very consistently. You need to be on a lot. I can tell you from my own experience. Hey, thank you for the follow, Music Addict. From my own personal experience doing TikTok lives, it doesn't pay a lot. It is very. Hey, thank you, Danny boy. It is one thing that, you do have to have a lot. You do need to have a lot of followers. I'll give you an example. My spouse is also on TikTok. She has about 5 times more followers than I do. And what she will get from her, yes, and what she will get on it will vary greatly from month to month. So with the summertime, she's probably, if she's lucky, she will hit 100 pounds this month. She's hit it close a couple of times to about 500 or 600 pounds. So, so when you're doing TikTok, and she puts out a lot more videos than I do and stuff. It is, from my own experience, TikTok, you really have to hit a very specific niche. You need to be able to find where there is a gap and fill that gap. And you need to be on a lot. I like to do like the lives. I will go on and do lives. But I just don't have the stamina to do it like 6-8 hours and just really start to develop that that type of following and stuff. I can do, I think the most that I've ever done lives, been on lives for, is about 3 hours straight. I think 3 hours straight is, I think, the maximum. And I think totally in a day, maybe it's been about 4 or 5. But, and still, I really won't, when I go, even if I do like 5 hours, I still won't get a lot. And the thing is that you also have to realize too, is even if you do get, let's say, diamonds, for example, from anyone, they convert roughly, at least at my stage in TikTok, at 0.5%, roughly fingering to win 0.5%. So if somebody sends me, let's say a galaxy, for example, I will, at best, get 5 pounds off of it. Oh, well, thank you, Paper Crane. Thank you, Danny, for that. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you. So what I will get is roughly from payment. So you think 1,000 points, that's really big. You're going to walk away with a lot. I am using today Music Addict. I'm trying a background because I've done it before. And I thought I would just give a kind of one of TikTok backgrounds again. And see how that goes. The only thing I don't like these is that I kind of fade in and out a little bit from them. And the backgrounds I don't mind them, but as you can kind of see, kind of like around the edges and stuff, my like headphones and stuff pop in and out. So it's not the greatest. Hey, I'm doing good. How are you doing, Five? So I don't get, you know, I think it's nice with the backgrounds. It kind of adds a little bit of mystique and it makes it a bit more interesting. But like I was saying, with TikTok, you do, like I said, it converts into about 1/2 of 1%. So somebody sends you, let's say, like I was saying, a Galaxy. You think, well, 1,000 points, that means probably a couple hundred. Hey, what it really means is it's about probably right around 5 pounds for me. And well, thank you for the likes. Hey, thank you. So it's not, you know, it's not a lot, but it is something, and it's anything I get is always appreciated. But it is just to kind of put you into this kind of frame, because I think a lot of times what happens with TikTok is it gets promoted as yeah, and that's what I think. I've got a few Galaxies, and I've got what is it, the one for 1,500? I forget what it is right now. Not like Super Galaxy, Galaxy Globe, and it wound up being about 10 pounds. So it's not a lot that you do get. And I've got a few of those. It doesn't. I mean, I think the most in a month I've made off of lives is, I think it would be about 30 or 40 pounds. So I really just trying to kind of just try to drive this to you, Music Addict, is that, if you're looking at doing lives as a source of income, it can be potentially, if you have the followers. Hey, thank you for the share. You know, it can be a good source of income. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is, for you to get that kind of source of income, you need to be live, at least, every day for at least 5 to 8 hours, if not more. And there's like competitions and stuff, and you really just need to get yourself out there for it. And I'm not the biggest fan of the kind of like the competitions and stuff. I think it is a bit, for lack of a better word, a bit kind of hokey. I'm not the biggest fan of all these kind of like competitions where you go against other creators and live streamers. I don't always buy into it. And so what happens is, for me, I'll do a couple of hours here and there. I'll do kind of, even with like the sales, if I do sales videos or sales lives, I tend to prefer the lives to do them, because I do find it's just easier to do a lot in a short amount of time than trying to do a video. Because for me to do one product video, it will take me to shoot, edit, and to get it on. It will take between a half hour and an hour to do just one. And I can sit there and do like a couple products in like an hour and a half, and it is a lot easier, and I can be a bit more relaxed with it. And so even when I do the lives for products, I rarely, if ever, sell anything. And if I do, it's typically after the live. Nobody will buy during the lives, so it will be this type of situation when I go on and hawk some wares that I have. Usually I'll wait for a couple free stuff to come in, kind of try to find things that are commonality that brings them together, and then take it on and show it and do it like a live stream. And I try to do it, and for the live stream, content where you're trying to hawk stuff, sell stuff, hey Kendra, it becomes a situation where you need to do it at least 3 times a day, 3 times a week, at least 3 times a week for about an hour and a half. That's on top of all of your other lives and stuff. So it becomes a very kind of time demanding thing on you, which isn't bad. But the point I'm making is that um, it can take a bit of takes a bit of work and dedication, because you're not, if you're going to go live to sell stuff or you're going to do product videos, you're not always going to sell them, and it is it's not pre-recorded, um, and so when you do it live, and you do all this and you put your time into it, a lot of times you don't get the money back. So it is, hey Tom, good to see you. So it's one of these situations when you're doing TikTok lives or you're doing TikTok videos for content, as a kind of like a brand ambassador promoting a product. What winds up happening is that, like I said, it takes time. You don't always get the sales off of it. And sometimes what you will find is, you may sell a lot, but you don't necessarily make a lot. Again, I'll use my spouse, who has around 5 times more followers, 5 to 6 times more followers than I do. She does a lot of product videos, and what she will probably wind up walking away with per month on her sales will be, if she's lucky, 20 pounds. Sometimes it's even lower. Sometimes it will be only like 10. So it is one of these things that, you need to, be conscious of if you're thinking you want to use TikTok as a way of source of income. I would recommend, if you are going to look at it as a source of income, what you really need to do is develop a large following. And really, I think probably for you, then it would be about 50,000. My wife does, like I said, my wife does a lot of brand stuff and gets brands, and she's only just started getting some really good brand deals after she broke 20,000, and she still doesn't always get the better brand deals. So if you're looking for like brand deals and kind of really a lot of stuff, you really, I think, really need to hit kind of like that right around the 50,000 threshold. Otherwise, it's not really going to be worth it. And if you don't get the 50,000 followers, it is going to be a problem. The other thing, nobody really talks about, hey, Timor, my day's been great. How about you? I'm just waking up. Hey, number 2, Gorbachev. And Roger, what I'm going to say to you is, the other thing, what you need is the other flip side that nobody really speaks about. If you're doing, hey, good to hear that, Timor, that nobody speaks about when you're doing TikTok is you need to have followers that actually will buy from you. It's one thing to have followers, and that plays well when you are, in all honesty, trying to, relate to brands, get brand deals, and to, maybe sell stuff, to kind of promote yourself. Oh, well, thank you. But again, you need people who are basically have the similar interest to you. So if you offer products for sale, it relates to what they want, and you go with the content that they want to hear. Um, and so what it will do is, you can have, let's say, 100,000 followers, but they're not going to be buying from you. Then it will be the same as like having 1,000 followers, because you need to be able to make that transition from doing your content to being able to sell to people who will buy and who will then, being able to monetize what you have. And if you're not able to monetize and make that kind of crossover transition, it is not going to happen. For me, again, I make I like to do lives. I do them more because it's something I enjoy doing than the money end of it, because the money end of TikTok, at least for me and from what I see with my spouse and some of the other TikTokers we know, it's at best pocket money, a few extra quid here or there, but it's not something that you can really work off of and say that you can create a lifestyle from it, because the income from it, like I was using my wife. Hey, go ahead, Timor. I was just chatting about it because I got a question about it. What's your question, Timor? Go ahead. That's what I'm here for. And so if you're just joining, you do like the feed, please please share it, and please follow. And if you do feel inclined, but don't feel as though you have to, please thank us, because it really helps me to know what people like. So what's your question, Timor, about career change? So what is your question about career change? So, what is your question, Timor? Okay, so you're trying to get marketing. So, what is your background? Um, so, okay, what did you do in aerospace? Were you... What is your background? Um, so, what is your background in aerospace? So yeah, so just to let you know, Timor, I do also have okay. So you're a mechanical engineer, all right, and you want to get into marketing, okay. So why the change now? So why do you want to make the change, and why marketing? Because that seems to be a very, almost like 360. You're doing mechanical. You're working in aerospace, and now you want to make a very big change and go into marketing. Why marketing, and why now? Um, okay. Okay, so without spending a lot of time on this, two things. I do have a guy called UK Career Change 2026 on leapstartcareers.com. Okay. Um, the other thing is, no, I can understand that. I had that same issue in IT. It is, you can get really isolated. At times you do wind up feeling isolated and you need a little bit of that people contact. Okay, so okay. Okay, so what I would say to do right now is start to look at um, job descriptions in marketing that are of interest to you. Take a look at those and then start to do what I call it's a skill assessment. Start to think about your education, your experiences, the training that you have done that relate to that job description, and start to see what type of gaps, if any, are there that you need to fill, and take a look at are they major gaps or minor gaps. And that's something I can also, if you want to book some time with me, I can work with you and go through it with you about, where do you sit and what type of gap analysis there is, and what type of gaps exist and how do you are able to fill those. Sometimes it is as simple as, putting it on, going with a functional CV over a chronological and highlighting your skills. And because again, like with marketing, one of the big things is being able to analyze. As a mechanical engineer, you have a lot of mathematical and IT background that would well suit you for it. The other thing is to start to look at that. The other is begin to, you can if you head over to leapstartcareers.com, or just message me on TikTok, and I can get you the information on how to book the time, and we can do and have a bit of a chat. There is, like I said, on leapstartcareers.com, a facility to book time with me. All you just have to do is just book it. And if you have any issues or questions, you can always message me on TikTok. And if you do head over to leapstartcareers.com and go up to the navigation, there is the link to the book UK Career Change 2026. And also, if you're, and also, I'm going to be opening up the playbook, UK Job Seekers Playbook 2026 at 25% off. And the code will be playbook25, all one word, no spaces. And that's going to be active for the next 2 weeks. So there's no rush tonight, but I wanted you to hear that first. So if you head over to leapstartcareers.com, enter playbook 20, enter the code playbook 25 when you're checking out, it will take 25% off the book. And like I said, and there's also UK Job Seekers UK Career Change 2026 for those looking to make a career change, and that's also available. So like I said, take a look, start to do a gap analysis, start to identify some marketing CVs. The thing you're going to have to probably realize and kind of accept is, if you're going to make a career change, especially this type of career change in a field where you're probably making close to 6 figures, if not, you are probably going to have to take a slight step. You're going to have to take a step down in pay, but in a very short time, you'll probably be able to gain it back. But, it will probably take a little bit of time until you build a bit of experience. Hey, Rosema, good to see you. So just, take a look, head over to leapstartcareers.com and take it in. So today's been a really good day, really enjoying it. Had questions regarding both TikTok and using TikTok as a source of income. I've been talking about my experiences and my spouse's experiences on TikTok with revenue. Also been talking a bit about career change and mentioning the upcoming, the discount on the playbook. UK Job Seekers Playbook 2026 being offered at 25% off. Use the code Playbook25 and you'll get it at 25% off. So we've been talking a lot about kind of the career change and income revenue. And this is one of the things that gets me thinking is that one of the reasons why we probably have some of these questions is a lot of people are probably beginning to find that if you're looking to make a career change or looking for a job, one of the things that is really difficult right now is actually finding them. And people want to say, it's because they lack the skills. They lack the skills. They lack the ability to get to jobs. And so what they decide as a knee-jerk reaction is to just blanket the marketplace with their CV in hopes that somebody will pick it up. The reality is this. It's not you. And I'm going to say that again. It's not you. The reality is this. Right now, there's only 712,000 vacancies in the UK right now. And right now, there is approximately 2.5 unemployed individuals for each vacancy, which means that there is nearly 2 million people out of work applying for 712,000 vacancies. When you factor in those who are looking to make a career change or change jobs, we're probably talking for every vacancy there is, you got over 2 million people applying for 712,000 jobs. This means what? It means that employers can be selective, employers can take their time, they can be choosy. And so it can mean for people looking for jobs, the time to search for a job is a lot longer. So how do you get hired quicker? There's a couple ways. First way is to look at agencies. Because why? Because agencies are temporary, makes the roles temporary. And for businesses, hiring on a temporary basis reduces their risk, reduces their cost. So a lot of the jobs will go via agency. The other thing is sending out your CV to literally hundreds of people where you may look as though you are a suitable candidate or anything that remotely matches your interests or skills doesn't work. Because why? Because employers can be choosy. So they're looking for people who match the role almost identically. So if your skills do not match that job description, if you just send off a generic CV, it's going to be rejected. So it means that if you're going to send off a CV or apply for a job, you're going to need to make it align with the job descriptions. That means taking a look at your skills, knowing where your skills set. What can you justify as experience? What can you evidence in an interview as a job? what you've done and the impact that you have, because really when you do your application, it is a way to kind of introduce yourself and to say, hey, no problem, I look forward to meeting you. um and so what it means is, um this: it means taking time to book. It means taking the time to look at your skills and really have a good understanding what your skills are and what does it relate to, and how to market yourself to them, because really at the end of the day, it's really a communication exercise to communicate to the job, to the role, to the company, that you have the skills that match their job description, and to put your best case forward for them. I would like to say, if this was a situation where there were less, where there were more jobs open, you could, go with the what I call the 70-20-10 rule. 70% of the jobs where you match identically, 20% where you somewhat match, and 10% would be kind of like your dream jobs, where you can just send off your applications in hopes that maybe somebody sees some potential in you and wants to bring you on. In those situations, it would be, yeah, great, bring you on, let's get you in here, let's train you up, and and invest in you, and hope that you stayed the long term in this highly competitive market. Like I said, it's not your fault, but it is a very competitive market. Employers can be very picky. And it means at this point then, hey, look, hey, no problem. Same here, Timor. I'm in North Yorkshire. Just getting up. I tend to be an early person than a late person. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that. Thank you for your kind words, Timor. And so, really, what I will say to you is this, when you are applying for jobs in this market, you really need to be very selective and take the time to read the job description and think about what skills do you have to offer, and then align your CV with that. And sometimes it means doing either a functional CV or a kind of a hybrid to really showcase those skills, because at the end of the day, if you don't do it, and you just sit there and blanket it, what's going to wind up happening is this: you're going to get a lot of rejection, and rejection really isn't hey, Rosama. I don't know. You will, if you're in the UK, you'll need to contact the Royal College of Nursing and talk about, you know, and the Council of Nursing and Midwifery about revaluation. Nursing is always one area where there is always jobs, but it is going to be one of these situations where you may, because it is a competitive area, and what you're going to have to do is a couple of things, is be able, and I just did some content on this, when you're out for a while, it is very important not to dwell on it. People, when they are out for a while, become very apologetic, really decide to go into a very long soliloquy about why they were off. And a lot of times that works against you. So, what you need to do, first of all, is when you're doing your cover letter, when you're doing your CVs, if you're doing, let's say, an online application, and you need to fill a gap, it is no more than one sentence, something like, took time off to care for a parent, and coming back into work, and have the skills to do it, or been off ill due to disability back under control, looking to return. It is, you're going to be something that you're going to need to do, but what you need to do is it's kind of just give a quick explanation. Okay, so you want more of an admin. So you went off with family care. So you just say, I took some family care leave, needed to address some family issues. I'm now ready to work. I'm looking for a role in more on the admin. One of the areas that you can start to look at that is a bit more. Oh, yeah. You never lose your skills and your background, but it's about framing it and knowing how to approach it. So what you need to do, if you're looking for more of the paperwork, you need to look for more of the nursing admin types of roles. And a lot of times in mental health, you may be looking for potentially administrator, nursing supervisor, research nursing, because research nursing can be a lot of split between admin and nursing, and start to look at again, those are few and far between. Nurse assessors, some that may be with the government, but a lot of times those are with private agencies. If you have as long as you have your registration, you can do it, but it is one of those very difficult and very few and far between roles. The other thing you want to look at is maybe working on occupational health school nurse, where you work during the school year at a school. Those would be kind of the other roles to look at. Occupational health nurse, industrial nurse, where you work at a company and maybe do some health and safety training. Also, too, you can look at working in the area of health and safety. There's a lot of other kind of nursing-esque type of roles that you can do that are more on the administrative than nursing end of things. So if you're looking kind of really administrative, nurse assessor is one. You can also looking at working at roles within Royal College of Nursing and Midwives, looking for roles there. Royal College of Nursing. You can start to look at the really administrative end of things, and making sure that your skills match. Yes, so you look and start to look for jobs there. Start to look on the government websites. Again, you'd be qualified to look and do a lot with like the Department of Health and Social Care, with a nursing background. So I think there's a lot of opportunities open. It is just trying to find and identify which roles best suits you. And so when you do make this kind of transition, what you really need to focus on is your skill set and what type of skills you have, and start to match those admin roles with that. So if IT is not your strength and you're looking for admin, then one of the things you do really need to do is start to begin to develop your admin skills, and really begin to develop those, and taking a bit of a look at that and how to develop it. And again, too, I do have 2 books on that available on LeapStartCareers.com. One is the playbook, which I'm going to be offering for the next 2 weeks, 25% off. When you're going to check out, just enter the code playbook 25. It's all one word, no spaces, and that's going to be active for the next 2 weeks. So no rush, but something to consider. The other is UK Career Change 2026. It covers changing careers, because this is a bit of a change if you're going from ward to admin. It is an yes. So again, it may give you some tips and advice and insight. Also, too, if you want, just head over to Leap Start Careers, book a 15-minute call with me, and we can talk about this a bit more. So I would say to you, so you have 12 years experience on the private side, and I think, nurse assessor would be a good one. Would be a good role fit for you. It's just taking a look at what do they want in the way of skills, what do you have to have skills, and where do you need to kind of work at filling them. So yes, so I would say to you, take a look, and really take and have a think about it, and then it's once you have a look and identify the skills you have, then put together a CV that best markets your skills and highlights your skills. And that may be, in some cases, a functional CV or a hybrid functional chronological CV, because each is a little bit different and works. So, and of course, too, just like I say, remember, when you are applying, at some point you're going to have to explain the 3-year gap, and just keep it very simple, one sentence, and then deflect and talk about what you can bring. So yes, took family leave. I have now addressed the issue, ready to return to work. I have a lot of skills that you have, that you require for this role. And let me tell you about how I can best serve you. And that's all you really have to do. You deflected, you changed the conversation, you addressed it, you deflected, and now you're getting back the conversation back to where it needs to be. And that should be sufficient in most cases. Basically, answer, deflect, and change and move the conversation forward. And that's all you really need to do. Because you don't need to spend an inordinate amount of time, trying to explain why you were off, because there is no need for that. Absolutely not. Thank you, Rosalma, for the roses. That's amazing. Thank you so much. And there isn't. There's no need to go into a long soliloquy now, novella, about why. Oh, wow. Thank you for the heart me. Thank you so much. So it is just best to really just address and move on. So yes, so if you are just joining, you do like the feed, please like, please share, please follow. And if you do feel inclined, but don't feel as though you have to, please send gifts because it really helps me to know what resonates with people. And today we've been talking about a lot about career change, um, changing, just making job changes or slight career shift changes, and also to what it's like to be on TikTok, and really, can you make a living off of TikTok? So we've been having a really good. Hey, thank you for the share of the live, Rosanna. That's really much appreciated. So, yes. So, you know, so just, feel free to, if you have some questions, because we're coming down to the final 20 minutes, which is great. Time has gone really fast, and really appreciated everything everyone has done today. And it's been really lively, and I really appreciate it. That's been good. So if you have a question still, I still have time. I don't need to blast off right at the end here. So if you have a quick question, I'm more than happy to pick it up. You know, we've been talking about job changes, career changes, finding jobs that best fit um, your lifestyle, and how to, how to really face, that, and how to make that change happen. So, got 20 minutes left. So anyone facing, applying for jobs, or even looking to apply, because we are now in the if you're looking to get into management consulting, usually what I have found with management consultancy is, if you're looking to become and get into that, it's one of two things. It is usually you have an MBA. Most people I've known who have done management consulting have an MBA, or if they're doing HR, some will have their master's in organizational psychology with their CIPD certification. If you don't have an MBA, a lot of times people who get into management consulting in the UK will come from a very kind of large corporate background, that they will have worked for multinationals and kind of like senior roles, um, and have, really kind of developed, and worked into that, or they come from in IT. A lot of times they will have several years of experience in IT. So anything, if you're talking about management consultancy, it is usually somebody who either has an MBA or has several years of experience through that. There is, again, when you're talking about management consultancy, there's always like need for like admin and some support. But if you're really looking to get into and being, that kind of consultant, taking on the management consultancy, really you do need to have either the MBA or a very kind of good track record in management, managing teams, um, managing finance, and being able to budget, doing work with budgets, and having this very comprehensive experience across various sectors, and working with a variety of people, negotiating. And so, again, it is one that's not hard to get into, but you do need to get it's more experience based, in my opinion. Okay. Okay, so maybe if you're looking for management consultancy and you're looking for a role that allows you to find complex solutions to complex problems, I think really the starting for you is, again, do your research, look for job descriptions that are for jobs like that. Start to do a bit of a skills assessment on yourself to take a look at what do you have that meets that, and where do you, hey Rosama, and where do you, oh, thank you for the rose, um, and start to look at the skills that you have. Oh wow, thank you for the additional roses, that's amazing. um, and start to look at the skills that you need to develop. And sometimes it may mean, like I will say, all the time, it may mean that you just repackage your skills, because you may have it, but you just need to find a better way to repackage, which is, again, maybe a functional CV or hybrid, or it may be doing some additional development, some additional training, getting some additional experience to do that, and trying to identify, if there are gaps, how do you get that so so take a look and start to develop that, and you may just start to find, that you, yes, the Six Sigma, yeah. It may be just the, like I said, Mark, the issue you may have right now, and it's not you, it is the UK marketplace. It's very brutal at the moment. Only 712 vacancies for roughly 2 million applicants. So there is a lot of competition out there. And so it really becomes very strategic about what you apply for. So you really need to look for roles that align with your current skill set, because if you're going to try to make a massive career change without the experience, it may be a situation where your CV falls flat, because right now employers can be extremely, and I mean extremely, picky. Because really, at the end of the day, probably if you're going to put out a job advert, they're going to come in with at least 40 applicants, if not 150, 200 applicants or more, sometimes even 500. And so they can easily, take their time to do it. And right now, it is a time when, school's out, people are gone. And so there's not a lot of hiring that's happening. So, I would say right now is do an assessment, because it is very quiet right now. Do an assessment on yourself, see what you could do in the marketplace and what's available to you, and start to look. Start to begin to plan and come up with a way to find what you want. It may mean that you take a shorter step and you get into something a bit more junior to get the experience, to get your foot into the door, and then advance. But sometimes you do face the issue of being overqualified, because they can be very selective. So again, it is just really trying to take stock and come up with a, very much a plan, and start to identify, and kind of think about what do you apply for, where do you apply to, whom do you apply to, and just, and be a bit resilient, because it is a very brutal marketplace. And people like yourself who are looking for changes is going to find that it is going to be, one step two steps forward, one step back in it, because you're going to really need to be able to adapt and come up with ways to apply. It is the best advice I can give is don't blanket your CV to everyone. Instead, take the time to send it out, and make sure the ones that you send it to align with what you're looking to do. And one of the things that can really help is that on leapstarcareers.com, I have the playbook that I'm offering at 25% off. All you have to do is head there, enter the code playbook 25, all one word, no spaces, and that's going to be active for the next 2 weeks. No rush there, no pressure. Also, I do offer UK Career Change 2026 that talk about how to make that career change for those of you who are looking for it. Again, it is worth your time to take a look at, and if you are wanting to have a bit of an informal chat and see what to do and more on one-to-one and get some more advice, I do offer a free 15-minute call. All you again have to head over to is leapstarcareers.com and and get the consultation. And so it is a good day. So any questions, I still have 10 minutes. More than happy to take another question from you. Easily to do that. If you are looking, the best advice for anyone who's looking to make a change in careers or make a change in roles is to go with either a functional or a hybrid type of CV, because this will help to get you into help to get your CV noticed. Again, it's really because it is very competitive out there. It's best for you to make sure you're selective in what you're applying for and the job really matches your skills, because by doing that, you're maximizing the chances that you will get noticed and picked up and interviewed, and hopefully cut your job search time. And so, what do you do? So anyone out there that sends out the same CV anytime and finding, that, hey, look, you're not getting the response back. Because if you are, put it down below and let's see what we can do to help you, get the help and support you need to change the rejection into acceptance and get that job for you. So if you're looking for any tips or ideas, so if you do still have about 7 minutes, I will most likely be back tomorrow, 4 a.m. British Summer Time. I do I do have, like 7 minutes left. If you have a question, more happy to pick up that question. I don't necessarily need to jump right off. So if you got a quick question, hey, Zach and Dylan and Roger and Emily, if you do have a question, put it down because I will pick it up. We've talked a lot about today, applying for jobs, TikTok, career changes, what to do. So So if you have the question, put it down. Um, so put it down and I will pick it up. Still have about 6 minutes. I will be back tomorrow at 4 a.m. I'm planning on it, but again, it does make the weather very humid, and with the humid, it just makes it harder to sleep. So it is one of these things. Doing it at this time, um, it is always with this weather, always a little bit kind of touch and go because I will try to pop on, but it doesn't always work out because it is sometimes very hot or humid at night, and it does make it a bit. So I will be back. I will pick up any questions. If you are looking for some advice, tips, support, CV, I do free CV reviews. So all you have to do is just direct message me and ensure that your account is active so I can respond back to you. I do free CV review. LeapStartCareers.com has guides, downloads, articles, a whole gamut services to help you navigate the UK job market. And all you have to do is just head on over, navigate, look around, search on it for the topics, and it is there. I will be posting more content today, so check that out. I do have content on the whole gamut: job search, interviews, if you're looking for information on one side, interviews applying to university, online interviews, and more. Thank you for the likes, everyone. And more. So there is, there is support there and ways to find some quick questions. So it is set up. So if you have a question, feel free to drop it down below or check out LeapStartCareers.com. Like I said, do have several pieces of content on interviewing, job application, CVs, pay compression, redundancy, dismissal, references, really the whole gamut of career job application. And so I will do that. So I would encourage you to check out that content. Also, hey, Angel and Emily. And I would then also encourage you to take a look at subscription. I do offer subscription and also discounts through the subscription for those of you who are who do subscribe. There is that avenue, and I would like to, if my goal is to get more subscribers, because then I will do specific chats, live streams just for subscribers. But I do need to get right around 10 subscribers to actually start to at least begin to consider offering live streams. And two, with live stream, with subscriptions, I do prioritize my subscribers. So with questions and responses and any type of support they may need, along with providing them with anything additional on Leap Start. So if you are looking for a bit of career advice support, want to do it in probably the easiest way I would say probably subscribe. Um, so as we kind of begin to wind down, um, you know, just remember, you know, the discount on the Job Seeker Playbook. And I really appreciate all the likes. Thank you everyone for the likes. That is really amazing. And so you know, so any questions, you know, afterwards, feel free to drop me a message or book some time with me on leapstarcareers.com. As I wind up today, just want to remember, you know, thank you for being here today. The link is in my profile. Code is Playbook25, and that's good for the next 2 weeks. So, so just enter Playbook25 when you're looking to purchase the book, and it will take 25% off. And that code will be good for the next 2 weeks. So, you know, I will see you soon. I will let the clock run out, and just remember, you know, the link for the book is in my profile. It's the short code, short URL, and that will be good for the next 2 weeks. So thank you, everyone, and I will see you back tomorrow at 4 a.m. British Summer Time. Thank you very much.